Welcome to the Crime Report, where we delve into the darkest corners of real-life mysteries. From unsolved murders to shocking criminal conspiracies, we explore the stories that shook the world. Each episode, we take you step by step through the investigation, uncovering the truth behind the headlines and the secrets that still remain hidden. If you're a fan of crime stories, stay tuned and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Get ready, because we're about to uncover a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The Cult of Hollow Pines, Part 1. Whispers in the Woods. The town of Hollow Pines had long held secrets, but none whispered louder than those that came from the woods just beyond the churchyard. Locals told stories of strange chants echoing through the pines, of bonfires that flickered deep in the forest, and of people who went missing, never to return. For decades, those tales were dismissed as folklore until Detective Eleanor Voss arrived to investigate the disappearance of 17-year-old Lena Maris, a quiet high school student who vanished one autumn evening on her walk home. The trail led to the forest's edge, where Lena's journal was discovered, half buried beneath pine needles. Its final entry sent chills through Eleanor's spine. "They watch me from the trees. I hear them singing when no one else does." Locals warned Eleanor not to go into the woods after dark. "That forest ain't right," one elderly man whispered. "Something evil lives in there. Something." Waiting. Against advice, Eleanor pressed forward. She followed the path Lena likely took, flashlight in one hand, the journal in the other. The forest seemed to close in tighter with every step. Then she saw it, symbols carved into the trees, forming a trail. She traced them deeper into the woods until she reached a clearing. In the center stood a circle of stones, blackened by fire, surrounded by makeshift totems, bones, feathers, animal skulls. At the center, a freshly extinguished torch. Suddenly, a twig snapped behind her. Eleanor spun around. A hooded figure stood just at the tree line, unmoving. Before she could speak, the figure darted away. Back in town, she dug into old records. In 1979, a preacher named Jonas Miles vanished with his entire congregation, 37 people, after declaring that salvation lay not in heaven, but beneath the soil of Hollow Pines. All were presumed dead. The church was shut down, but rumors of a hidden sect, a group that worshipped darkness and sought eternal life, lingered. Eleanor realized Lena might not have been a random victim. She may have been chosen. She circled the names of others who had vanished nearby. They all fit a pattern: young, isolated, and last seen near the woods. With each clue, the detective was pulled deeper into a twisted history. And the forest, it was watching her now. The Cult of Hollow Pines, Part 2. The Root of the Ritual. Detective Eleanor Voss didn't sleep that night. She stared at Lena's journal, replaying the eerie encounter in the woods over and over in her mind. The hooded figure, the circle of stones, the symbols. They weren't random. They were part of something ancient and alive. The next morning, she met with Reverend Caldwell, the last living member of the old church. Now a recluse in a care home, he trembled at the mention of Jonas Miles. "He said the light was a lie," Caldwell whispered. "He showed us things that weren't meant to be seen. We followed him into the woods, but only I came back." Caldwell gave Eleanor a location, a place called the Hollow Root, a hidden cave beneath the woods. It was where the sect believed the veil between life and death could be pierced. Determined, Eleanor returned to the clearing. This time, she brought backup: Deputy Will Mercer, a rookie with a steady aim but shaky nerves. They found the hidden entrance beneath a fallen oak, just like Caldwell described. Inside, the air was thick with rot and silence. The walls were carved with the same strange runes. At the center, they found a makeshift altar. Dried blood stained the stone. Around it were dozens of Polaroids, photos of missing persons, including Lena. Eyes scratched out. Then came a sound, chanting, low and rhythmic, echoing from the tunnel ahead. Eleanor raised her flashlight and saw dozens of hooded figures slowly emerging from the darkness. Eyed her. She shouted for them to stop, weapon drawn. But they didn't run. They knelt, as if in worship. A voice rose above the chants. From the shadows stepped a man in red robes, eyes glowing with unnatural light. "Welcome," he said, "to the rebirth." Eleanor's blood froze. The man was Jonas Miles, older but unmistakable, and somehow still alive. Deputy Mercer panicked and fired a warning shot. The cultists didn't flinch. Miles simply smiled. "She is the vessel," he said. "And you've brought her to us." Before Eleanor could react, they were surrounded. But just as the cultists moved in, Mercer tossed a flare at the altar. Flames erupted. Screams followed. Chaos. Eleanor grabbed Mercer and ran. The tunnel behind them collapsed in flame and rubble. Outside, gasping for breath, Eleanor clutched Lena's photo. She had seen the girl among the Polaroids, but Lena had been alive. Bound. Terrified. This wasn't over. Miles was alive. Lena could be too. And the forest. It had more secrets yet to bleed. The Cult of Hollow Pines, Part 3. The forest must feed. 3 days had passed. Detective Eleanor Voss had barely spoken a word since escaping the cave. She sat alone in her truck, engine off, staring into the mist-covered woods of Hollow Pines. Somewhere inside was Lena, and somewhere deeper, Jonas Miles still breathed. She hadn't told the sheriff, not the FBI, no one. This wasn't just a missing persons case anymore. It was a war between belief and madness, and she was all that stood in between. At dawn, she returned, this time with fuel, flares, maps of the cave system, and a conviction burning like fire in her chest. She entered through a different passage Caldwell had drawn. Moss-covered stones shifted beneath her as she moved through ancient tunnels carved long before the town existed. The silence was unnatural. No air movement, no insects, just the sound of her breath and the occasional creak of something alive. And then voices, faint rhythmic chanting, the same low hum from the ritual chamber. She followed the sound until she reached a massive chamber. This one was different, ornate, almost like a cathedral. At its center, bound to a stone slab, was Lena. Pale, weak, alive. Eleanor stepped forward, but the room shifted. The walls seemed to breathe. And Jonas Miles emerged from the shadows once more, smiling with something inhuman behind his eyes. "You see," he said, "we never lost her. She came willingly. She's the key." Lena opened her mouth, but no scream came. Her eyes pleaded. Eleanor raised her gun. "Let her go," she said, "or I swear to God." Miles chuckled. "God," he whispered. "We buried him beneath these stones long ago." Suddenly, the cultists moved forward. Eleanor lit a flare and threw it into the pool of sacred oil behind the altar. The chamber ignited. Screams. Smoke. Miles roared, his voice no longer human. Eleanor ran to Lena, cutting her bonds as the chamber began to collapse. They sprinted through the collapsing corridor. Roots lashed out from the walls like living things. Eleanor fired blindly, clearing a path. Bursting into the daylight, they collapsed on the forest floor, just as the entrance caved in behind them. They were safe, for now, but Hollow Pines was quiet. Too quiet. Eleanor knew cults didn't die in flames. They scatter. They regrow. Back in town, she handed Lena over to her tearful parents. The media descended. The FBI asked questions. But Eleanor never told them everything. She kept the journal, the symbols, and one photo of Jonas Miles's face, unburned, untouched, taken from the fire, even though no camera had been near. And late at night, when the wind howled just right, she could hear the chanting again, because in Hollow Pines, the forest still fed. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more thrilling mysteries like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your likes and shares help us grow and bring even more gripping tales to life. Thanks for listening.